Hi everyone, welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
It's fine. It's going okay.
Okay.
Thought I had a fly in my hair, but I don't think I did. It was a phantom
fly.
Phantom insect in my hair, but it did not exist.
Oh, well, I'm happy for you.
Just a lock of hair out of place, I guess.
The cocktail of the week is by our friend Derek Brown, proprietor of the Columbia Room in D.C., one of the best cocktail bar in the country.
He's kind of a big deal in the drink circuit.
He's a big deal, and he's also my pal. He's Ideas Improve on Twitter, and he's great. And so anyway, he came up with this cocktail that he posted today called the 46th Inauguration Cocktail. He makes an inauguration cocktail for every inauguration. So this is, he actually made a non-alcoholic version of it. So it uses non-alcoholic versions of all these alcohols. I made it full strength, full octane. Bourbon, triple sec, a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and then you top it with champagne.
And I keep forgetting that triple sec is Cointreau.
Orange stuff.
No.
Yeah. Orangey liqueur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. We used some Old Forester bourbon.
It's like a bourbon
whiskey.
float.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it is.
I find it hard to manage the ice cream and the drink and try to find the right mix.
I did bring a spoon.
It's complicated. The spoon helped.
Yeah.
But then it's more like a dessert than a drink. I had to spoon it, which is different than drinking it.
Indeed.
So, seems like a lot of work.
Well, I'm happy to handle the ice cream for you. You want to just have me scoop that out?
I see where this is going. No? Maybe I'll try it a little bit more.
Okay.
A little bit longer.
All right. You got anything before we jump into the dog updates?
Do I have anything? We're going to ignore current events because it's too much and it's a pain in the ass and everyone else is talking about it anyway.
Yep.
As usual, but even more so today.
Yeah. We're aware. We're drinking right now.
Yeah.
I will add, before we jump into dog events, happy second birthday, dear Dad.
Yes, it was supposed to be my birthday yesterday, and for reasons that everyone knows about who read the news, it got all sucky.
Yeah. Today, we haven't, frankly, made much of today as your second attempt at a birthday either. I still got to find something around the house to wrap for you.
Is that what it is? Present. I thought you were actually getting, one was en route and had been delayed. No, a present had been delayed.
No, man.
You're just going to wrap up an apple and be like, hey, I gave you a gift.
I'll figure something out. I still got time.
2 apples. Aha!
You've been with me all day. Like, even when we went out to pick up medicines and stuff, you came
were on
with.
The porch all day with 5 to 6 dogs.
I know, but I couldn't, go get you something. I mean, I could wrap up Vink.
You could. That would be great. Do you have enough paper?
Don't.
Takes a lot less paper now than it used to, but still.
Anyway.
Oh, my God. You wrap up Vink for me? That'd be awesome. I like Vink.
Hey, that's where we may end up by the end of the day.
Just put a bow on her head.
Anyway, I'm sorry that a coup attempt ruined your birthday.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Do we still have to go to work after the coup attempt?
I did email all my students, and I was like, you don't have to turn in anything until next week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a snow day. It's like a coup day. It's fine.
One student, so I sent it, I'm teaching a bunch of winter classes, it's 3 weeks, and you do a full semester in 3 weeks. So they're very intense. And I'm like,
it's like 1 week a day.
It is. I'm like, I can't give you more absolute time. So don't fall too far behind. But, if there's stuff due and you don't, it's fine. Turn it in next week. And one student responded and said, what's going on? ? And I was like, someone has not been on social media or any news sites today, I see.
Well, in hindsight, he might have been joking or she might have been joking.
No, I don't think so.
Then it's that person should be made to watch a little bit of TV.
Anyway, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, dog updates.
Thanks for the people who sent cards and greetings and well wishes, by the way.
Did you get a lot of them yesterday?
I don't know if I liked them all or responded to them all, but I appreciate them all.
You didn't like them on Twitter, not as supposed to.
Oh, I loved them all.
Yeah.
Yes, but I didn't push the little heart button on Twitter for all of them.
Okay. So dog updates. So Voodoo, I think when we were talking last time,
Voodoo's hilarious. Voodoo's a mischievous menace.
So I think we did our last podcast like on New Year's Eve or the day before New Year's Eve, and I was all getting ready to go run this race, which
That's right.
I ran about 20 miles and then I walked some of it.
You ran into the new year.
It was good. But the point is not that. The point is, I think we recorded like on the 30th, and then the 31st, my race started at 6 p.m. So I was gonna leave at like 12:30 to give myself the 4 hour to drive up there and check in and get all my stuff ready. So it's like noon. I'm getting ready to go, and Voodoo had another seizure. He had his big cluster of seizures like on the 28th, which I was super worried about. So he'd had one on the 27th. The morning of the 28th, he had the big cluster. And then on the 31st, he has another seizure. He's never had them all close together like this. So I almost didn't go because I was very worried about him. But he was fine.
That was the last one he had.
Yeah. And so I called the vet, and they like actually closed at like noon. I called him at like 12:30. And I was like, what should we do? Right? Like, we've been doing all this stuff. What should we do? And so we agreed that we need to put him back on his full dose of phenobarbital, which we had been trying to wean him off. So now he's back on that twice a day. You can really tell. Like, he kind of stumbles around. He's not as with it.
He does lurch more.
He didn't have any seizures when we had him on it once a day, except for the day he vomited up all of his medicine. But he was doing okay.
He wasn't really on it that day, yeah.
So we're going to keep him on the twice a day. We had said a month. I may do it for 2 weeks. We'll see. Assuming that everything is fine, and then try him on once a day. We were down to every other day, and we'd been doing that for almost 2 full weeks. And the vet I talked to wasn't the regular one that we've been seeing, but all the notes from his case are in there, and I explained her the whole thing, and she's like, look, some dogs just have to be on the phenobarbital. It's like, it's a harsh drug, but it's like, you have to have him on something. Like the cluster seizures that he has, like, they can die from that. They can just go into like a permanent seizing state, and then they'll have a heart attack, or they'll like turn blue. They'll have permanent brain damage. Like, they can just straight up die while it's happening. It's really bad. So we can't have that.
Nope.
And so he was noticeably better on the one dose of phenobarbital a day than twice in terms of his energy level and his alertness. He's not like a zombie now, but he's not as with it as...
With one, he was doing a lot of chomping of the guac.
Yep. So we want to kind of get him reset to a good point. So have him on the 2 doses, which was like, they had done blood checks for him when he was on those. Everything looked good. So he's not, having any damage or anything when he's on twice a day. But hopefully we'll get him stabilized and then switch him to once a day. And we know we can't go lower than that, but hopefully can keep him on the once a day dose.
Yeah.
So, I was like, getting ready to leave when he has the seizure.
Yeah.
Just to make me go like, oh my God, my poor baby Woods.
Yeah, poor big baby.
But he's doing fine other
He's
than that.
very sneaky, though.
Oh my God.
He's so quiet, and like, he's like a shark. He's always moving.
He's making all that noise in the background right now.
Yeah, but he'll like just appear somewhere and be chomping on something. And he ate a wood box today. Where the toys are, he was starting to eat the box.
It was full of toys.
Yeah, well,
but he was chewing on the box.
He ripped the slat off and just started chomping on it. Big Vood.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. We weighed everyone.
Yeah, he's down to 101. So that's pretty good. Brody, I didn't write down what he was. I think he's at
91, I think. The trend was good again. He hadn't quite broken back down under 90.
Yep.
But he's on Lodi.
Yeah, the green beans are helping him a lot.
Man.
He's still whiny, but...
He gets whiny, yeah. But then you give him more green beans, and he's like, fine, you're kind of tricking me.
He loves the green beans.
You're tricking me still.
I have started him on melatonin twice a day to see if that does anything to just kind of calm him down a little bit. So hopefully that'll work.
Is that the chewable thing?
Nope. It's just a little tablet.
What's the chewable thing?
Cranberry, to prevent urinary tract infections.
Look at that.
Also works on people, except he doesn't have chewable ones now, if they're the big kind of oblongy red ones.
Yeah, I'm just giving them to him as chewable, though, and he kind of eats them.
I mean, that's fine.
He eats a lot of things that other dogs would be picky about.
I guess that's true. So anyway, that's the Voodoo and I guess the CB update. Guac, Vink. Well, I'll talk about Vink in a second, but Guac Vink, Hop's doing fine. Little Cheese is healing up great. He's like really perky now.
Of all our 7 dogs, listeners, guess who escaped the other day through the open gate of all the 7?
The Little Cheese.
Little Cheese, little angelic Little Cheese was just like doop 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 doop.
Just wandered out. I had him out there because we still have guys working on the house, and so I kind of take 2 dogs out at a time, and so I took out somebody in Little Cheese, and I was watching probably Voods. And I turn and look, Little Cheese is out of the gate across the street.
Which, he's not fast. He's just kind of consistent and quiet.
Oh. Vink, you're fine. There's an open bag of scoops on the counter.
Vink alerts us sometimes when there's something that smells good on the counter by being a little whiner.
But anyway, yeah, he's perky. He's affectionate. Like, Little Cheese is really a transformed dog. He's doing so much better.
Yeah, he's clearly, in contrast, you could tell he was in kind of distress and kind of uncomfortable the whole time because he's not that anymore.
Yeah, so he still has his staples in. We're getting those out on Saturday. So a couple more days and then he'll be free of those, but he's great. And I had posted on Twitter, I was like, I've got to write a thank you note to Dr. Faith, who's the vet that did this. And, a lot of people do that for their vets, and I typically haven't just because, not that I'm not grateful to the vets, but they're kind of doing like, okay, like the dog hurt this thing, and they're like, we will fix the thing, and like, that's great. But this one was more unusual in that his previous vets didn't consider surgery an option. The rescue didn't consider it an option.
Everyone kind of thought he was going to die.
I mean, I never would have thought of doing this surgery. I mean, I explicitly would have rejected this surgery on a dog in his situation.
12 years old and failing.
And he's got this giant tumor, right?
Yep.
And it's only because she's like, we can do this. It'll be fine.
And she really meant, I can do this, which is really good.
She said, I have done this a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It looks fine. It's going to be okay. Even, we weren't expecting to lengthen his life, to end up with him not having cancer. But it's, it's because of her confidence that we did this and then find out he doesn't have cancer at all. So now potentially we get a lot longer with him. I mean, who knows, right?
This is such a good combination of being confident in your skills, doing it right, because she won't get in trouble if she doesn't do it, right? But she can, I don't say get in trouble, right? But for a vet or a doctor to overpromise is hard. Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, I'm going to write her a note, and like, if anybody wants to sign on or leave her a message, like, here's a little Google form to do that. So about 17.
You knew it would be more than 3.
1,700 people filled it out. I printed them out today. It was 180 pages. So I got one of those like little, hardcover binder things. I had to buy a ream of 3-hole punched paper so I could bind it together.
That was so smart. I would have bought a hole punch.
A single hole punch.
And been like, I got paper already. I'm just going to put holes in it. And you're like, oh, they already do that at the factory, the paper factory.
So I have this giant book, 180 pages of thank you notes from everybody.
It's pretty cool.
It's very cool. I'm super excited. I'm also giving her a bottle of rum.
Yeah.
As a thank you present. So
if she gets bored of the thank you, she can drink a rum.
She can do both at the same time. Drink rum, read notes.
You can drink rum with everything.
So anyway, Little Cheese is doing good. St. Patrick, stable, the same. Nothing to report. He's fine.
Yeah, has unexplained wags sometimes, which is nice. He's just kind of like hanging out being St. Patrick.
Yep, he's a trooper.
Yeah.
The one thing I wrote down to talk about is that I had posted up a picture of Vink, and this sort of bot account responded and was like, I'm looking for a sugar baby. As long as you're loyal, like, I would love to spoil you. And I was like, to be clear, are you trying to hire Vink as a sugar baby? Is this a virtual position? We're very interested. Like, please DM us. And the guy got kind of upset, and then he deleted his tweet. I like the idea of Vink as a sugar baby. Just gonna send Vink presents.
Vink, or you could sell pictures of your paws to that dude.
Somebody did ask for feet pictures once to our account.
Yeah, but it was not clear if he really. I'm assuming it was a he.
It was.
If he really wanted dog pics. I think you did
send
send
I'm pretty sure he was a bot.
You sent him paws, though.
I did. It's like, I'll pay $50 for pics of your beautiful feet. And I sent him a pic with, like, I think 5 dogs at the time. All their feet. They were, like, standing on a step. And I was like, here you go. Like, do I get $50 per pair?
Yeah.
He didn't respond either.
Disappointing. I mean, they never really know what they're getting into with these guys, with our dogs.
Come on, guys. If it's a dog picture, like, maybe don't send that content. Anyway, that was
Or
funny.
pay up. Thanks.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely enroll Vink in a virtual sugar baby position with that
And the
creepy
foot
guy.
fetish thing is great because she's got 4 paws instead of just the human
right?
2.
I
Yeah.
would charge the same. I wouldn't charge per foot.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Anyway, that's the dog updates. Everybody's fine.
Vink doesn't really even know this happened, to be honest.
No, I think it's funny.
We
though.
explain it to her, and she gives us this kind of vacant stare and pants.
Yep. Can I at least have some cheese? All right. Well, that's it for dog updates. It's nice to have an uneventful dog week, frankly.
Nobody ate much.
No, the normal.
We have the handymen who are in here have a spread out. They have like a paper road that they've built across the carpet, which is very
protect the
responsible
floor,
and
yeah.
nice. Yeah, they'd be like, we're just going to walk on this cardboard that we unrolled. But whenever one of the dogs gets bored, they start eating it.
Especially Voodoo, but also Guac.
Guac today was just taking pieces and ripping them off.
Yep.
So it suffered a bit. It's got some potholes in the cardboard road.
I think we got less than a week, and then they'll be out of here.
You are just so patient that you're mostly out on the porch with between 5 and 7 dogs.
Yeah.
2 of whom are usually misbehaving in some way.
Yep.
It's either whining at you for being hungry or bored, or beating the crap out of each other because it's Guac and Boods.
These are all true facts.
Knocking stuff over.
Yep.
Rubbing on you with their wet butt from swimming.
Yep.
Your patience is saint-like.
I've got a
Catholic saint-like.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So you got a German word of the week?
I don't know if I've done this one before, but in German the birth control pill is called the pill, also die Pille.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I learned it described, actually, it was called the anti-baby Pille,
Yeah, that's definitely what it's called.
the anti-baby pill, which is very descriptive, actually.
Anti-baby pill.
Anti-baby pill. Yeah. So,
I'm checking to see if it's in the German word of the week.
anti-baby Pille.
No.
On the wiki?
No.
On our wiki?
It's not. We did.
Shout out, we have a wiki for this podcast. If anyone wants to catch up on the German word, or the cocktails, or I think other crazy stuff, it's on the wiki.
Everything's on the wiki. It's great. Yeah, you haven't done anti-baby pille before.
Well,
so
there you go. That's it.
now it'll be in
That's
there
a German
next.
word. Yeah.
Okay.
Taste of the keys?
Taste of the keys. I thought I would do my little diving adventure.
Do it.
Another-
This is a great. Anything first person is better, and if you don't get arrested for drugs doing it, it's even the best.
Yeah. So we live on an island, obviously, and we have talked many times that there's like the boulevard that goes from Route 1 to the old overseas highway. And there's houses on about half of that, including ours, like all the little streets that come off. And then it goes through Wilderness Preserve for about 1.5 miles, and then it dead ends onto the old State Route 4A, which was the former overseas highway. And if you turn left, you go into a part that's blocked off from traffic, and we go there sometimes. And if you go right, there's like 2.5 miles of road with a few houses, but it's mostly through the woods.
Few houses on big land by the Atlantic.
Yep. And you can't really see into any of them. So it's just there's a handful of houses down there. Who knows what's going to happen to them, because that road sometimes floods in the king tides, and the county's like, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to raise it, in the next 20 years. And
Not
so
really
then,
worth it for you. 8 houses.
yeah, and then the people are like, we know nobody's sympathetic to us because we've got really expensive houses, but it sort of sucks that we won't be able to drive to them.
The
Anyway.
county's like, get a boat.
You go to the end of that road, and then it's blocked off to traffic, and then for another 3.5 miles is where the road used to be.
Yeah.
And so it was abandoned in, I think, 1945. I don't know if the overseas highway shifted to a different position in 1945. I don't know if they closed that stretch of road then. I think the bridge probably went out. It had a wooden bridge to another key that's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, the road has not been a road. No work has been done on it since the 40s. And so there's not much road left.
For a path in the woods, it's pretty fancy, and still has some asphalt patches.
I would
For
say
a road,
fancy's,
it's terrible.
I'd say distinct. It's not fancy.
Distinct. It still is defined path in the woods, right?
Yes.
It's wider than 2 feet, 1
Yes.
foot in front of the other, which is pretty good after from 1945, right? But the road is gone.
Yes, occasionally there's like a little crumbled old asphalt on the side, but that's about it. It's basically just a trail. And here,
that's the word I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, here in the Keys, like the islands are coral rock, right? And so we don't have like muddy dirt trails. There's just like there's sometimes some topsoil, and when that's gone, then there's like rock underneath.
It's either rock or gravelly, sandy, coral stuff.
Gravelly, yeah. So that's what this is. Yeah, with occasional patches where you can sort of see there once was a road there, and so that goes for 3.5 miles until it just the islands end. And
it's not even dramatic. We were hoping to find like pillars of a bridge or some ramp that leads into nowhere, because that happens too, but there's nothing.
There's just a bunch of mangroves around the end. You can kind of peek around them, but there's not like you're not looking at some great views. You're just looking over at the next key.
There's not
like
even a good picnic spot or a good fishing spot. It's just the friggin' mangroves.
No, and so the only way that you can, like, once you get to the end of the drivable part of the road, then there's the 3.5 miles of this road, and there's no way to get to any of that except to walk the 3.5 miles. I guess one could kayak over to it from someplace else, but it's a long kayak. I mean, it's a couple miles to the next key.
Yeah, and kayaks are slow.
Yeah.
We've seen people bike it.
And it's barely bikeable. They don't bike it very far, because then they're like, what the hell is this? This is bumpy, and like you got to duck sometimes.
You got both. You got to look down and duck at the same time. And probably if you went any speed, you'd be brushed right off.
Yeah. So there's never anybody out there. I mean, we saw the bikers once. We saw, like, on Christmas, we saw some people hiking out there, and that's about it.
Yep.
So I, as a person who likes to walk very far, like to walk to the end of this and back, which is a 7-mile hike, a little bit longer than 7 miles. So I occasionally drag GR Dad with me, with medium enthusiasm from GR Dad.
I go when I want to.
And even then with some complaining.
That was more generalized complaining about, it's hot, I'm wearing warm pants. It was
You did wear the wrong pants.
It was stupid. It wasn't the path or you.
So we went out there a couple weeks before Christmas, and we walk all the way to the end, and there's one little patch that's kind of off to the side. Like, normally it's just like where the road was, and then there's mangroves and trees growing into where the road was. But all the way at the end, 3 miles in, there's a sort of flatter section that sometimes is flooded, sometimes under the tide and sometimes not. And there's like a little bench there. Like, people have clearly hung out there on occasion.
Sometimes there's fire. Is there a fire pit there, or just remnants of a fire?
There are some rocks around what would be a fire pit, and there's wood in it, but the wood has never been burned.
And it may be underwater, yeah.
So if you go there, GR Dad noticed in the water, there's like a little part that slopes into the water, there was a car in the water. And GR Dad's like, look at that car in the water. And I was like, holy man, there's a car in the water there. And so when we went back, I looked at it again, and I was like, that's very interesting that there's that car in the water. You could not drive a car down this road. There are parts of this trail that are like a foot wide at this point.
Serious trees on either side.
Trees have grown into where the road was.
You can't brush past it.
Yeah. So now, it has not always been that way, but certainly now it's not like, someone was off-roading and they drove their car down there. You couldn't get the car down there. There's no other way to get there. So this car has clearly been in there for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I went back out. I walk this road much more often than GR Dad. You've done it twice, I guess.
Yeah, sounds right. Might have been 3 times.
So I went back out there, and I was like, well, now the light's really good. It looks like a Jeep, and I got some good pictures of it. And I was like, I'm so curious about this. So I started posting. I got these really good pics of it.
Yeah.
Because
it was clear water. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the light was right where you could really see into the water. Sometimes you could just kind of see the roof in there, but you could see really good pictures. And I like precariously balanced myself on some mangroves to like get some good angles. Got these pics, and I was like, okay, like guys, check this out. Oh my gosh, how did this get here? And so I was like, oh, I can look in the glove box if I could just get to it. Like when I was taking the pictures, I'm like, I really want to swim out there. And it's, it's not it's tidal water, right? It's just the ocean basically in a little kind of enclosed nook. And I can't, it's like a little chilly, and I'm also just like out. I don't have any preparation. I can't just swim in there. I'm going to go do it though.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like what do I look for? If I go swim around, I can look in the glove box. Maybe I can look for a VIN.
For change.
Yeah, look for change in the cup holder. Okay. So I'm posting about this on Jen Runs with Dogs, my running account. And so I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going out. Like I posted about it, and everybody's like, you could do this, you could do this. I was like, I'm going now. So I go out there, and I bring like my little snorkeling mask, and the car is just like rotted to bits. I mean, a lot of the frame is rotted away. I reached in where the glove box would be, and it's just a hole, like it's rusted away.
I also don't think you're the first one to do this, unfortunately.
So there's just not really anything to it. There's nothing to be found in there. Some people are like, oh, check the door frame. There aren't any door frames. Like the roll cage is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, the hood's still there, right? It's not nothing, but it's been in there for a long time. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to like, Hopper, stop making those noises. I don't like it. I want to check a little bit more. Like I kind of reached into the center console as a little, because who knows what's in there.
With your bare hand.
My bare hand. I didn't bring any gloves.
Scuba drivers have gloves and shoes, and they don't just poke
I did
stuff.
have Tevas on. I mean.
Of all people, you should know the dangers of spiky things underwater.
Well, I know. So I went I was like, okay, so clearly I need some gloves. And I had brought my underwater camera and took some pictures. So the next day I went to like Divers Direct, like popped in there, got some diving gloves. And I was like, dear Dad, I got diving gloves. I got us both a pair. Let's go out there. And you're like, how about now?
Gotta work.
And I was like, I'm going then, bye. So I went back out the next day. It was a little bit murkier. But I was able to kind of like reach around and do stuff. Like the center console was just full of like remnants of shells. There's these like some kind of mollusky things that are attached to the rocks.
Probably took a long time to build up to that level.
Yeah, the floorboards are covered with them like inches deep. There's just not much there. There was like half a cinder block in the cargo space, like not something that would weight a car down. It was half a cinder block. There's like a round mirror on the driver's side that I ripped off and brought home, and I'm going to clean up. And
yeah, I mean, but it could have been down there for 30 years. I mean,
the
that's
thing
the
is,
right?
We know exactly pretty much how long it's been down there because someone was looking at Google Maps, which I had noticed. You can see it on Google Maps, and they're like, look, here it is on Google Maps. And I was like, yeah, I can look at Google Earth. And so I was going through the Google Earth pictures. It is not there in 2010, but it is there in 2013.
It's not 30 years at all.
No. So it could be, I mean, that's quite a while ago, right? It could be, it got 10 years ago that the road wasn't as overgrown at that point. There were no big hurricanes that came through. I mean, that's actually the theory, right? That the car ended up in this weird space because there was a storm that came through and a flood, and it
floated away.
Sort of floated over there. I mean, cars and boats and stuff ended up in all kinds of weird places.
Wilma was big flood, but that was 2005.
That was 2005. So who knows? There were no big storms that really came through the Keys. I mean, there were some big hurricanes. Actually, not that many big hurricanes between 2010 and 13. And none of them really hit the Keys. There was one biggish one that was kind of here like as a tropical storm, and that's just not anything that's going to do that. So, maybe it went into the water like in Wilma in 2005 and then got moved. Mm-hmm. But even then, probably not. Maybe it just wasn't as overgrown in 2010.
Because it looks like a spot where you drive it in.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right off
this end of the path kind of thing.
The end of the path.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah. I mean, it has slid right in. It looks like it has slid right into the water there. It's right up against. At the same time, it could have blown in the other way. I mean, we don't know is
Yeah,
the answer.
true.
But it did appear there somewhere between 2010 and 13. But when I was looking at the satellite pictures, it also looks in some of them like there is another car slightly further out in this little kind of lagoon area. There was like something there before 2010. It could be like a rock or something. But in the 2010 picture, it absolutely looks like there's like a pickup truck further out there.
That would be interesting.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to convert GR Dad to come with me on Saturday.
It's really far. Oh, Saturday, yeah, maybe. It's just really far to walk, and like even you got caught in the dark on the way back.
The same distance
with
on Saturday.
The lightning bugs lighting your way,
Yeah.
which is actually pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. So anyway, I've been like venturing out here. It's like, on one hand, I was sort of disappointed that like what I really want to do is like get the VIN, like get the Carfax report, figure out whose car it was.
Bugsy Malone's, yeah.
There's nothing. But it's still been pretty interesting.
Or find like a bunch of cocaine in the back or something. That would be cool.
I really don't want to find cocaine, but money would have been good.
Yeah, gold doubloons.
Gold doubloons.
Always happy for.
I mean, a quarter.
A
I would have
bullion.
been happy with a
That's
quarter.
true.
Gold brick would have been great.
The parking money, just a bunch of quarters would have made you super happy.
Oh my God, I would have been thrilled that I found like actual treasure. So when I go on Saturday, I've got like some short little flippers that I'm going to bring with me. Oh, yeah. I've just been going down in my Tivas, but I'm going to swim out a little further, I think, see if that other thing is actually a car, what it is.
Gives me a little bit of the Ghiblies, I think you believe you said?
The Ghiblies, yeah.
To think of swimming around there, there are big fish.
There's giant fish.
Big giant angelfish.
When I went down the first time, the second day I dove on it, there was a lot of current, and so the water was sort of churned up. There weren't a ton of fish. But the first day I dove on it was very clear, and so there's a bunch of like bonefish. I mean, big, fish, like it would be like a big largemouth bass for the northerners.
Yeah, something you'd catch.
Yes, for sure. And people catch and eat bonefish down here. I mean, they're popular inshore fish. So there's a variety of fish like that swimming around it, plus some tropical fish, like little stripy ones and stuff. And then, so I get into the water. And I swim up to it, and in the front seat, swimming around, is this gray angelfish. It's like 15 inches in diameter, just massive. I have never seen, like, if you saw it in like the store, it'd be like 4 inches around, right, to buy it, and like it would look impressive in a tropical fish tank.
It was like a plate, dinner plate,
like bigger than a dinner plate. It was ginormous, just swimming around, looking at me.
It's
awesome.
In Finding Nemo, it's the one that has a scar in the aquarium. Like, that's an angelfish.
Oh. Well, this one is, like, gray, and it's got, like, a little bit of blue stuff and, like, some yellow, I think, behind its little fins.
Mostly just big.
I think the Finding Nemo one is a French angel, and this is a gray angel, which they look almost the same, except the French angels are kind of blue, and the gray angel is gray, obviously. But they look really similar.
Yeah.
It definitely is reef-like. Like, you can still see the paint job. But there's a lot of stuff growing on it. Someone advised me that one of those corals is like super toxic. Like, this orange one, like, don't touch that because you'll be real itchy. And I was like, please take a screenshot of the video and circle the thing I'm not supposed to touch because I don't know what I'm doing.
Please keep your gloves on too.
Yeah. No, I had.
You'll brush against it. That's the bad. This is why it's giving me the Ghibli. Everything underwater wants to kill you.
Well, you don't have to touch any of it. Just
wants to kill you and eat you.
You will like it. You'll like swimming around. So there's no license plate on the car. I did dive down and check.
Yeah, that's true. No, you didn't find a VIN either. I mean, this is we're not finding a lot of mystery solvings.
No, and I mean, some people were like, look, if you can pop the hood, which I don't think is possible, I think it is probably really rusted shut. Like, then there's this spot on the engine block, but if there's a lot of rust, like, typically you'd have to, like, sand that down and whatever. Like, it's just not a thing that's doable.
I'd be worried opening the hood because it would, like, release the battery or something.
Or the ghosts.
Yeah. Yes, the demons come out.
So it's pretty cool. If you're interested in mysteries like this, you can go follow. I'm just doing this on Twitter, on Jen Runs with Dogs. So there's a running thread there. There's a thread there that is not about running. It is about me going to look at this car.
It involves walking. You can't
Yeah.
really run on the trail for the same reason you can't bike on it.
You know what? I have found stretches of a couple miles that I can run, like a good mile and a half
The
without
end
tripping
parts
too bad.
are better, yeah.
Yeah, so there's been some, I've been doing some running on it, but with the diving, I've had a lot of stuff with me. Like my pack has been kind of overloaded. I have a very little pack in terms of carrying gear that I run with.
Yeah.
And I've had like the mask and the Tivas and, you know, like trying to fit a little towel in there for when I get out. Like it's been a little much to stably run with. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my like automotive mystery that I'm working on. And then now there's maybe a second car. So we'll see. Saturday there will be updates for sure. I'm going whether Jared comes or not.
Yes, that is definitely true. Can confirm.
All right, Jared, you got anything else to add before we sign off for this week?
No, hang in there, everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, although I kind of want a refund on 2021 already. I'll just lump it all with 2020.
Yeah.
It's all 2020.
I told Jared it's like in a horror movie where like they kill the bad guy and then they're like standing around talking in the last scene and the bad guy like whoa, like gears back up and then they shoot him again and then he's like actually dead.
And I reminded you that happened in Die Hard, which you just watched.
Which I did. I watched on Christmas. It happens in like,
It's such a thing.
The
The original
80s
Carrie,
horror
the hand comes out of the grave. Oh, scared willies out of me. It worked that time.
Yeah. Friday the 13th.
Glenn Close in that bunny boiling movie. She's in the bathtub like she's drowned.
Fatal Attraction.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So this week is sort of like that for 2020. You think, 2020 ended and it's just like, what? And then like you shoot it a couple times.
You know why? The development of that has turned into the double tap in that zombie movie.
Yeah.
Got a double tap to avoid the reanimation. Anyway, I'm way off.
Well,
Was that me?
Thanks everybody for listening. And until next week, don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Yeah, mask up.
Bye.
Bye.